Mr. Martin Johnson.
All right, all right.
Okay, and if you've seen all the social media videos of Crime Chaser, this is the guy. This is the man. The original.
That's right.
And then last but not least, Raquel Bauer. And I'm sorry if I pronounced your last name wrong. Raquel? Okay, so we're going to ask a few questions, and then we'll also have a Q&A discussion, and then we'll get back into the program as well. So first, I wanted to start with, and I can hand the microphone over as well, but if you all can each just introduce yourself and tell us about your journey and what you do in the community today.
Are you gonna turn the lights?
Yeah, the lights.
I don't know.
Yeah, we need these lights. It's too dark. I'm gonna. Well, while he's coming, my name is Martin G. Johnson, aka the Crime Chaser. I work in the community. I work for the community. When you see people out there just doing videos of crime scene, I was the originator of it. And I did it not knowing that it was going to take me to a level of heights. I just did it just to bring awareness. And I want to say this because, and no disrespect to no white people in here, but they was always saying in the black community, you guys don't call the police. If you call the police, you won't have all the trouble, you don't tell. So I debunked all that. So I proved to the whole world what's going on in the black community. Crime, live, it wasn't staged, that's why I call it live, uncut, and unedited. So also I work with a non-for-profit organization called Urban Roots Alliance. They pay me to do what I love to do for free. That's help people. And that's what I love to do it. And I do it with a passion. Of course, I get paid for it. Money is right up there with oxygen. You can't live without it.
Okay. Yeah.
Money is right up there with oxygen. You can't live without it. So I appreciate Urban Roots. We're a new organization, been around for about a year, maybe 16 months. So I'm growing with them. I'm one of their first employees. I'm still there. And I would say that I'm growing. So I appreciate you guys. Make sure you check me out on my podcast. And I talk about all different type of issues. I really don't chase crime as much anymore, but I do it. But I want to say this for a safety tip before I'm jumping ahead. I'm the one that told black people not to sit in your car around high crime areas. Because one thing I learned that people that was sitting in their cars in these high crime areas, they was getting shot up and no one never gets caught. Another thing, since we talking about violence and everything, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I tell women, I cannot tell you who to date. I'm not in the matchmaking service, but I tell you, if you hang out with a gun shooter, I call them gun deliverer, I call them a gun carrier, a person that's always confrontational on the internet with the police and different gang factions, it's just a matter of time. That's all I have to say. I get a clap, guys.
A hand clap.
Gave y'all some life-saving information. All right.
Hey, Raquel.
That's a lot of brave work.
It is. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Raquel Bolton. I'm the founder and executive director of Stereotype Me. I started the organization back in 2017 just to bring awareness to our community and various stereotypes and effects that it has on us. Since then, I've grew in my work. I'm a community violence interventionist. I'm an advocate with crime, safety, and justice, and we do a lot of policy work for victims of domestic violence and gun violence. And I work in workforce development. I'm a certified workforce development, and I work as a program manager. And I strongly believe that opportunity is safety. I know that there's a lot of there's a lot that goes into the roots of violence, but we need opportunities. And I'm gonna pass the mic.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Brother Ryan, for inviting me here. Thank you all for being here. My name is Obari. I'm a psychologist. I spend most of my time in rooms with black men and boys in juvenile detention centers, alternative schools, high schools, and a lot of the work is integrating arts and culture into the wellness space. Particularly here to talk about the work that we're doing to develop strong, healthy, compassionate, kind men to help prevent some of the violence that we've seen happening lately, and to help them restructure their conceptualizations of relationships and women so that they can be safe partners, safe brothers, safe cousins, and sort of citizens in the world, which is a lot of work to do against a backdrop of social media and socialization that is training young men to be dominant, controlling, and weak in a way that they don't even see. So we do a lot of that work. And so I'm here to talk about that and looking forward to the conversation.
Awesome. Thank you. So I'm going to ask a question and we're going to go down the line. And if you can give your perspective and thoughts on it. The first question I wanted to ask, how would you define the state of femininity in today's culture? What does that look like in today's culture?
I'll just start from me. I throw my age out. I'm 38. But at 34, 35 is when I started getting into my femininity and like healing, right? Because I have a lot of trauma. So I think, and it's more of a wave because we are now realizing our generational trauma. And so that is something that we're trying to change the norm. And more of wearing our natural hair, right? I really enjoyed that piece earlier, that poetry piece. So I think that it's more new for us because for women, we have to be so tough. We have to be so hard. My son today, he spent the day with me at work, and he's like, "No wonder why you come home and sometimes just get in the bed because I'm tired." You know, and you may not understand. And I'm not trying to be a man basher, but as a woman, we are the backbone to the community, to our families, and we endure so much. You know, we endure so much from our parents, our fathers. We may not have fathers. From our husbands, baby daddies, children, while also going through and learning ourselves, loving ourselves. Like that's the number one bottom line. I had to learn how to really, really love myself. I'm gonna pass the mic.
We had to make sure a woman spoke on that first. I don't talk about how to raise a girl into a woman. I don't pretend to know what it's like to be in the body and the spirit of a woman. On the other end, the work I'm doing with young men has a lot more to do with disrupting the categories of how we consider gender, masculinity, and femininity. I am a father of 2 boys, and I'm a very nurturing father. I'm a very sort of caring and like affectionate father. And when I do that, it's not me being less of a man. It's very powerful for me to demonstrate that to my sons. I challenge language around men being emotional and tapping into their feminine side. I think there's something very human about living life and being sad and being anxious and being afraid and grieving. And then when that happens, we should cry when that happens. And that's not you being more feminine when you do that. It's just expressing being alive. And so there's things that we do where we got, men on one side, women on one side. Men are logical, women are emotional. I experience men as being very emotional. We have a current leader of the country who's one of the most emotional people we've ever seen, right? The fickleness, right, is connected to a lack of stability that is not a feminine thing. It's not a masculine thing. It's just a wacky thing, right? It's just some people just don't have structure, and I don't want my niece to not be strong and courageous like I want my nephews to be. The same things that I want for the boys, I want for the girls. And so a lot of it is kind of just like disrupting how we are trained to think that there are certain categories where I have to go into or out of my body, out of my spirit to be something else, just to be human again. And sometimes I think that takes us away from our authentic expressions of self. And it's a lot of work to do with young boys who get different messages around what it means to be men, to be stoic, to be rigid, to hold it all in. The same kind of stuff that we hear from women about being burdened and not being able to express it. Some of that is very natural, some of that is very socialized, and some of that is muddled because we have these categories that I don't think are real. So.
Well, actually, I agree with you, sister. If the men, I'm talking about the black men, would stand up and take their rightful place, our women wouldn't have to show so much masculinity. I got to tell the truth and shame the devil. I got to tell it. You know, I'm not trying to show out tonight, people, but I have to tell it. If a woman, I've done protests, all women out there. Where the men at? I'm telling you, I've marched for Laquan McDonald. Majority women, black women, on the front line. I marched over there at Crown Plaza when the young lady was found in the freezer. Majority women. I was out there one day and I asked all the men, stand in front and let the women get behind us.
Women get it done.
Oh, I can't disagree with that. I cannot disagree with that. So a lot of our men, we have to take our rightful place. We have to be counted on. We have to count on each other. And there's some healing for the women too as well when it comes to us. Because I found in life that most women respect money as authority. If a man got money, but a man's still a man without money. That's real talk. I know nobody want to hear it, but I have to tell it. I have to tell it. We've been open, we've been honest, and I agree with everything this sister said. She come home, she have to play both roles. And that's hard to do. That's hard to do. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of responsibility we have to take when we have children out of wedlock. These are things that happen. You know, when you do things out of order, these are the consequences that you get. So I just have to keep it real tonight. So that's all I have to say. I can go a little deeper, but I'm
You're good, Martin. Thank you. My next question is, I don't know if you guys seen the latest article in Essence magazine that says this femicide against black women is a crisis that cannot be ignored. Mentioning the young lady Shaniqua Pugh and Christina Snow, the young lady that just lost her 8 children by her husband. Influencer Ashley Janae was found dead in Zanzibar while vacationing with her partner, Joseph Isaac McCain. And then also in Florida, Coral Springs Vice Mayor Nancy Mateer, who was a black woman, rising politician, preparing to run for Congress, was laid to rest this past weekend, and she was shot and killed by her husband. Also, nurse Victoria Alexander Raven Edwards, who was a mother of 3, who was killed in front of her children by her father. And I know that sexual assault and violence is present and generational. So my question for you all is, how do you feel about what's going on today in our era with these killings and violence against women?
Just hearing those 3 stories again, bottom line, it's mental health. I think that each story, they snap, you know. Mental health is something that many people hide, we mask, we don't take serious, we forgive, we keep going, but we never take time to actually deal with. I feel terrible about, you know, the man, he killed all his children, and shot his wife and his girlfriend. I read something that said he was empty, you know, that his eyes there was no life in his eyes. And so I know that is just something that I personally, within my household, I'm practicing. And I started with myself and my children. And in my work that I do, right, I have to include that in my life and in the others around me if I see that. So as a community, if you see something, say something, right? So if I see you struggling with something, I will try to help. There's a resource. So in households and domestic violence and relationships, that's a secret. We don't talk about that. I come from a domestic violence household, and that is something that my mother would have never, she would never have spoke about it or agreed to me that trauma affected me as well, until I set her in a room so she can know her trauma affect me as a childhood, in my childhood and within my own relationships. My mother was, I think when I was about 6 or 7, her boyfriend at the time, he trashed the house, he attacked her, and she shot him. And she went to jail for attempt. She did not get charged, but she did shoot him. Now, my life could have been different if she actually would have murdered him. You know, who knows if she would have got self-defense or if she would have had to do time, right? And that was the second relationship that I witnessed her being brutally just abused. But within my adult years, she never acknowledged it. And coming up as a teenager, I accepted the same behavior as if that was love. Those relationships sound like domestic violence and mental health. And those are just things that we don't deal with. I think violence starts at home and also outside, because, you know, what do? We whoop our kids, we beat them, we reprimand them, we're angry, and we're processing, we're learning, right? Or we as we're growing. My son, he came up with me, and I just had to tell him, and I'm just being real, the other day, like, I'm processing what you're saying to me. I can't give you immediate response. So for us to kind of minimize all this energy, give me a break. I'm not saying, I don't want to say any, you know, because he's re-traumatizing me, okay? So if we're grown-ups, and this is just generational situations and relationships, and that was just an honest statement that I just shared on Pass the Mic.
And I just wanted to get into the next question because I wanted to get into the Q&A. But Dr. Obari, I wanted to start with you too, about young Black men or just young men in general, and why do you think that they act in a sense of this way growing up, or mental behavior? They seem okay, and then they get in relationships, and then it goes left or right. So can you give us an aspect on why men act in violence?
For sure, and certainly my heart has been breaking watching the news, reading these stories. And there's absolutely a layer of explanation of it that has to do with mental health, anxiety, depression, men feeling like they don't have a space to express themselves. It's certainly part of it. Underneath that, though, there is a foundational sort of building block of men's development that teaches us from very early hierarchies of dominance, of power over, of more value, and those as a structure show up when the crash out happens. And there's something about the way we train men that has to undo some of the, you call it patriarchy, call it, you know, whatever you call it. There's something structural about how men see themselves in the world. And Black men in particular see that as a ideology and don't have the actual power in systems, in structures to exercise the power that we think we're supposed to have. And then that shows up as violence against who we perceive to be weaker in those moments. And so that's a underlying sort of structural, ideological, conceptual problem that has to be repaired through training men better. And it's hard to do in a world where so many examples of the structure have to do with men being in power. Almost had a woman president, but like I believe that her womanness was the barrier. And it's everywhere you look, and you can't read too much Bible, no offense, without being reinforced in the dominant male figure and the violent responsibility to hold, maintain structure through control and dominance. So that underneath the mental health and depression has to be something that we repair. This is not a woman problem to fix. Y'all can have all the sister circles y'all want, but men have to come together to reinterrogate, unlearn, and teach young men a different way of being in the world that is not dominating and controlling, and we can have a sense of worth for ourselves and a value of our counterparts that does not, in moments of despair, turn into violence because of the structure underneath it being faulty.
Okay, and Martin, I just want to ask you a question as well. Then I'm going to go to the audience so they can ask you guys questions. With your videos and social media platform, have you seen any occurrences of young men and women arguing and fighting? I know I'm from the South Side, so I've seen that occasionally where me and my mom would be in a car, we would see a guy and a girl, literally a girl getting beat by her boyfriend or sexually assaulted or choked, and some men jump in and some people mind their business. So have you seen anything, and how do you respond to it if you film it or anything like that?
Well, actually, I'm remind you guys of something. I didn't film it on 47 in the Red Line. I believe maybe 5 years ago, it was a young man fighting a lady on the platform, and he stabbed her to death. And nobody said anything. They had their cell phones up just like this. Mm-hmm. I didn't film it that day. I wasn't there, but that was traumatic to me.
Right.
You know, I've seen when I was in Whole Foods on 63rd and Halsted at the time. No, I take that back. It was Mariano's. I only had one cell phone at that time. So I didn't know the dude was real aggressive toward the female, and it looked like, you know, a street term, it looked like he was getting ready to hit her. So I didn't know if to film or call the police. So my solution to that now is I carry two phones. So if I got to film and call, I can do both at the same time. So I've seen it. I don't like it. I have 4 daughters, and I just don't like it. I don't like it. I think I tell my daughters, as a father, as a grandfather, that if any man put his hands on you, he don't love you. That's all.
Raquel, you want to say anything? And if has anybody got a question, I could come to you.
Just one more thing. Women, we do a lot of self-work and we do a lot of the healing, and our men don't. So, and it's hard. So it's important for them to find safe spaces, just like he said, but for us to understand the trauma that they come from and to protect our sons and know that our men have gone through violence as well, right? We may say domestic violence, but they have a lot of violence, a lot of substance abuse trauma in their household, and molestation, same as us. And that's so not spoken of, but it's rare and it's real, and not many men speak up about that. And
Somebody can ask a question.
I think we should keep the hand claps coming. It takes a lot to have these kind of conversations. Give it up to the organizers, the visionaries, everybody that said this should happen. Northeastern Illinois University, this is amazing. Normally I don't say much, right, Obari? I was just compelled because like all of you all, my heart is very heavy. It's been a heavy week. It's hard not to understand. That's why I opened up with let's give each other a hand, but let's also give each other grace. Somebody say grace.
Grace.
We got to give each other grace. And when you come from a week like what we all just bear witness to, we don't have to know Commissioner Dennis here or his family.
That's right.
We don't have to know the sister that was set on fire on the train. But we know them. It's a kindred spirit that we feel, that we're compelled to understand, whether we know them or not. Because Because when we see our sisters and we see our brothers, we see ourselves. And we also understand that that could have easily been us. Somebody say that could have been us.
Could have been us.
So I don't necessarily have a question or a comment. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you. And you got one queen represented, and I think that's beautiful. And I just want to say publicly to Raquel, I have watched you for the last 15 years. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I remember at an event for Chairman Fred, and you were a vendor. I didn't even know who you were, but you knew me. And you said, Sister Africa, this is what I want to do. I'm so grateful. Some 10 years later, I'm sitting in the audience and you on the platform, you on the panel. And you're not just talking the talk. You're walking the walk and you're doing the work. Somebody say, do the work.
Do the work.
That's Barbara Quasey. As I close, crime chaser, never stop. Never stop. We need you, brother. Without you and the film, we don't get to see what happens sometimes if it's not in our own neighborhoods. You were the first to make it come to life so we can see what's really happening. I remember being one of the women for Laquan. Well, Ron wanted to push it under the rug. We're going to talk about it tonight. I remember being there and seeing you and not even knowing you then. But I'm so grateful for you and the work that you continue to do. Never stop. Never stop. Because this work ain't for the weak. And we get criticized a lot. They call activists performers. They call activists people that want to come when the camera's rolling. We've been doing this before there was a camera.
That's right.
There wasn't even a camera when we was doing this work.
Africa, I want to say one thing. And believe it or not, people, I was going Facebook Live before the news ever touched it.
The news used to call me to get to you. Do you know a guy named Martin Johnson? Yeah, I do. Crime chaser. Obari, never stop. Never stop. I'm sorry, Dr. Obari, can we put respect on that man? We never stop. Take my seat. Thank you so much.
And does anybody else have a question? And we're gonna get back to the program afterwards. Anybody? Question? Okay, then I'll just give it back to the panel. So the last question for you all is, what resources and anything like that in the community should people pay attention to just to get this conversation out to young people and try to help?
Well, I'll answer that. I work with the Urban Roots Alliance. We have 4 locations, 8109, 9145, 25 West 79th Street, 1734 West 87th Street. We work with gun carriers, we work with trauma people, and we have in-house resource. We work with justice impacted people as well too, expungement and all that. So it's free, people. All you have to do is make a commitment. I'm here to work. I'm working with people, and we're doing the best we could. I work in the Auburn, Gresham, and the Ashburn area. So those 2 areas that I serve. But outside of that, I serve anyway. Inglewood anyway. I'm helping them. I'm for the people. And I want to say this for those that don't know me. I've never discriminated helping people, whether you're male or female or whatever street tribe you represent. I see us all as one. That's what I see. Thank you guys so much.
Resources, I believe opportunity is safety. So if you see a resource for someone, please share it. I work with an employer by the name of OAI. We run workforce development, solar training cohorts. We just started one this week, and I truly love what I do because it gives people, it gives them hope. I had a girl come in today, she was crying. She cried all day. And she was supposed to come here with me today because they had some violence involved, somebody trying to shoot at her, her family, she had nowhere to go, nowhere to stay, she was up all night. She just needed a lot of help, and something that way more than I could handle, and that's why I'm like, these mental health resources and having somebody on site, that's the ecosystem, and that's what we need to realize who this is the ecosystem right here. You know, Urban Roots Alliance, opportunities, and mental health. And so this is a great panel, and I'm gonna walk away with it. Yeah.
It was an incident that everybody, real quick, on 79th, right around, I believe May, right around, it was a young lady that got shot up, her boyfriend, and she got killed, and the baby was in the car and all that. So I worked with that family. Also, back in December, there was a young lady that got shot in front of the police department with a boyfriend. I work with that family as well. So you don't see that on the internet. I'm just letting you guys know that's behind the scenes.
Real quick, I just want to give an encouraging word out to the brothers who are doing the work. There are lots of us that are in healing spaces, and we doing drum circles, and we doing yoga, and we having the journal, and we doing the work. It's not seen. It's often very quiet. It's not publicized. It's not as resourced as it needs to be. And part of that work is to make sure that we can become safer for our communities, better fathers. So I just want to shout out to the brothers that are in the room and in the city, all around doing the work that is I think the prevention for the harm and the medicine for the community. So we out here.
Okay, thank you, Martin, Raquel, and Dr. Obari. I'm gonna hand it back over to Orion.
All right, give him another hand, y'all. All right, as I said, it's National Poetry Month, so we're gonna bring up our next poet.